in this time of quarantine, with the help and push of a really great friend of mine, I have decided to make videos in which I review horror movies, because if I say so myself, I would have a diploma in horror movies if I could. And I'm actually gonna look up and see if I can get one of those after I make this, because that sounds pretty neat. Anyways, my name's Megley. If you are not someone that I'm forcing to watch this and you're actually like stumbled upon it or wanted to watch whatever, Megley, that's me. And so, background, since the first time we are meeting, I have loved horror films and spooky things my entire life. I've always loved to be scared. My parents would always like freak me out and do weird things to scare me. Halloween's always been my favorite holiday. We always decorate our house like really spooky. I love how I motioned, but that's just my wall. Nothing scary there. In my dorm room where I go to college, not here because this is my house that I live in with my parents, but in my dorm room for where I go to college, I have like the Stephen King It poster, creepy paintings all over the walls. Like I love spooky things. It just makes me really happy. Like when I'm in a really bad mood, I like to watch the Scream series, not the TV show because it was like, but the movie series, so 1, 2, and 3 with the beautiful Neve Campbell. It's just a comfort genre for me. It's fun. I wanted to start off and do a movie that was like really more recent in pop culture, that maybe a lot of people have seen, and that is really popular and like a lot of people know about. And it's really easy to stream as well. It is on Hulu, and it is The Conjuring. I want to do the first one. I'm gonna do the second one too, and the rest in the franchise, because I really want to talk about them. I think they're really amazing films. I'm already giving you my review. They're really great films. They're really interesting, and I would just love to talk about them. So yeah, let's get to it and talk. So it is set in the 1970s in Rhode Island and Connecticut. This is the world's first introduction in like pop culture to the Warrens. Ed and Lorraine, who were this couple who ghost busted pretty much. And they're really awesome. You should look them up if you're interested. I'm not going to talk about them except for what they do in the film, but they're a really cool, really fascinating couple. The story of The Conjuring is based on one of their most horrifying investigations, and that is of the house that the Perron family lived in. The Perron family is like this super sweet, they're a really innocent family, literally just move into this house and weird things just start happening. Is there a demon? Maybe. You should watch it. You should just watch it and find out if there's a demon or not. But I think that like works as a premise. I think weird things happen and the Warrens come to investigate. Sums it up. So let's get into my opinions as to why I like what I like about it. So let's just move into my opinions. The first reasons why I really recommend this movie is it's directed by James Wan, who's an amazing filmmaker. He writes, he directs, produces a lot of great horror films that we've seen today, such as like Insidious and Dead Silence. He also directed Aquaman, which isn't relevant to horror films, but it's a good film, so James Wan, yay. Completely also spaced this, he did Saw, the first Saw movie, with like a couple $1,000 budget, wrote, directed, presented Saw, which I would consider probably one of the biggest like film franchises like today. Also, so then next after that we are introduced to Annabelle, who was another one of like the Warrens like crazy investigations. This like one of the crazy stories that is associated with the Warrens is Annabelle the doll. She is in real life a Raggedy Ann doll that lives behind a little glass case that is blessed by a priest every month. But in the films, she is portrayed as a porcelain doll that's about the size of a toddler with like these red braids. She's got cracked cracked glass and everything. Very creepy lady. Like, so we're introduced to her. She's like the very opening thing that we see in this film, alongside of two really stupid nurses who give a little girl spirit permission to move into this doll. And if you've know anything about the paranormal, demons oftentimes like to portray themselves as children because it makes someone a person really vulnerable or more like accepting of this spirit. Thank you, Zach Bagans from Ghost Adventures, for teaching me such things. So yeah, so we encounter the Warrens dealing with this Annabelle doll and the nurses in like the first 5 minutes. Situation solved. We see the Warrens in action. Another reason why this movie definitely has the element of like creepiness to it is because it is set in an old Rhode Island house for the majority of the film. Now I know Rhode Island isn't spooky, but it's a state in New England, and if you've ever seen a horror movie, most of them are set in New England, because I just don't think ghosts can live in the West Coast, according to filmmakers. I just don't think that's possible. So Rhode Island, so we have a Rhode Island house that this family moves into, and nobody asks, not once in the entire film, why the previous owners just left all their stuff in it. Like, there's a boarded up cellar with a ton of stuff in it, and no one in the family that's moved in asks why it's still there. We also have a super precious dog that is terrified of the house, who will not go in, and dies that same night as they move in. Sorry, spoiler, dead dog alert, pretty sad. But yeah, and once again, if you know anything about paranormal stuff, animals are supposed to sense supernatural energy, so that's a really cool element that the filmmakers added in to give that element of like pure supernatural energy. And along the lines of that, there are some also really cool other like instances and like hints that the filmmakers add in like regards to demonic possession. Like, you've got like really like terrible smells, like rotting flesh. You've got the cold temperature, like the house just can't get warm. The weird stopping of the clocks, as well as like the bruises that show up on the mother parent's body. It's very interesting. And so as the audience, you're watching, you're kind of like, oh my god, like that's like really strange. And the family is just completely oblivious to what is going on. There's also the fun little kid that befriends the youngest daughter, who finds him in like this little, what's this thing? In the Jack-in-the-Box, who hangs out in like the mirror behind it. So whenever you do that and it like opens, you just see like this little kid, Rory is his name, just hanging out behind you. And that's like pretty creepy. Rory's actually a good guy though, so don't freak out. He's not the demon, he's pretty chill. Actually ends up being pretty helpful at the end. Also, the really just weird random game Hide and Clap, which I had some pretty interesting times playing myself after the film came out. And it's basically, like, somebody close your eyes, it's hide and seek, but when it meets like Marco Polo, so when like the person with the blindfold is like, okay, first clap, wherever you're hiding, you have to like do a clap, second clap, clap, third clap, yeah, and then they have to like come and find you. Fun story, I was actually playing the game after the film came out with one of my like really good friends, and she's having a sleepover, so it was me and a couple other girls, her and her mom was also playing with us, and I was the seeker, so I was blindfolded. Everyone was clapping, and I accidentally groped her mother. I held both of her breasts in my hand, and I think I was pretty young when that happened, so I felt like really bad about it, and I still do. Issa, I'm so sorry I groped your mother, and Liz, I'm sorry I groped you. Yeah, truly a horrifying game. Anyways, then we also have the crazy witch lady who we find out about like halfway through the film, Bathsheba. That's like, if that's a name, that is a name, Bathsheba. Anyways, she sacrifices her baby to Satan and then hangs herself on the tree on the property after cursing the property that she owns with her husband. Yeah, and so she makes like lovely like appearances throughout the film, just like a really creepy all around like lady. She's the pure evil that this film is focused on, and it's pretty fascinating to like see how she interacts. She actually even interacts with like the Annabelle doll, who was like about like 100 miles away, for like somehow connects with this doll, and yeah, they have some pretty interesting scenes together. It's not fun. Then we also have ghosts that you can't see as the audience member, which I think is a really cool aspect that a lot of films and like TV series are adding, such as like The Haunting of Hill House. So there are ghosts that you like only you can see, and ghosts that you can't see that the actors are still reacting to, and that's like really interesting to see, well, to not see the entity behind the door that is causing this like young girl to freak out so much, and then to just slam the door shut and leave them in pure horror, which leaves you in pure horror as well. all around, probably my favorite part about this film is that it is based on a true story, and it being based on a true story gives such like a cool like essence of, I don't know, creepiness to it. And if you like do your research on the film like I have, you find out that it and the true story are so similar that Lorraine Warren actually like helped work on the film, and did not like really let the filmmakers take any liberties unless they needed to, because of course you want to make the film really exciting, because actually the true story takes place over like a couple years like period, but they want to make it like go quick and that sort of thing. Being absolutely terrified of the film and then realizing that, oh my god, this happened in real life, it kind of gives you like a nice uneasy feeling that, oh my god, this is like a real thing that can like really happen and really happen to people, and these people are still alive that like suffered through this. Crazy. It's a really like great film overall. There, like, of course there are some flaws, but I really enjoy it. I think it's a very fun film to watch. Remember the first few times I watched it, absolutely like mortified, but of course the more I watch it, older I get, the less it freaks me out. But it's a film you can really appreciate if you like the horror genre, especially if you like the paranormal horror type of film. So I'm giving it like a 9 out of 10. I don't know if I should do that, but I'm giving it like a 9 out of 10. It's very jump scares. It's not really much of a psychological horror film, but it's a really great plot. That's like a really interesting, easy to follow plot, as well as just like a lot of fun. It's a very intense movie. You got a nice exorcism at the end that just like really ties it all together, that I find it really satisfying. Very like relieving. Anyways, yeah, so you should, that's basically it. Subscribe, I guess, yeah. This was pretty cool. I enjoyed this, and hopefully I'll see you guys again for the second Conjuring film.